Hello viewers, and welcome to another video of The Crew. Of course, The Crew beta has been out recently, but I'm just catching up here. Those of you that haven't seen the old footage we've been covering on the channel since, of course, E3 2013, looking at the different modes, interviewing the developers, seeing a triple screen, the motion system, the scale of the map, exploring every aspect of the game that we've had and been able to get our hands on so far. Of course, I travelled to Paris to see the latest version back in April and spoke with the developers. Again, further developments of where they'd been, what they'd done in the past, before a sit down to test out some of what was the latest build at the time. Probably a similar build to what you've been playing on the beta as well. So it was all just an interesting look behind the scenes, and I hope you've enjoyed everything that we've shown you on the game so far. But on to the beta then. Of course, everyone on YouTube has probably covered it by now, but I thought as we've been covering every aspect of the game so far, I'll continue to do so. Here you see using the wheel as we're on a race here. Now our coverage is slightly delayed. One of the reasons was because the SLI isn't currently working, so the triple screen gaming I was hoping to run, first couple of days I just kept getting a black screen. I turned all that off, and then we were able to record some footage for you. So certainly not the maximum my PC was capable of, but either way I believe this is give or take probably maximum graphics. So graphics obviously running at 30 frames per second on the PC as well. Bit of a shame that they've decided to lock it on the PC for whatever reason. I know we had this with Need for Speed Rivals last year. Certainly it would have been nice, I think, to have had the ability to have up the frame rate if the hardware could handle it, but either way they've decided to lock it for that. Of course, for the consoles it's understandable, and for the consoles, given the scale of the environments, it looks very nice. There's lots of lighting, lots of detail, and we've seen all this before. It is improving gradually, but as I say, this is very similar to the version that we saw earlier this year. So racing around off-road using the steering wheel. Control varies from car to car. Some cars are quite fun, some cars are quite sloppy in terms of handling, a little bit, they move around a bit too much. Viewpoint, you see, is very high for the bonnet cam there, and that's something I'm going to come back to in just a moment. I think the viewpoints are just slightly off when it comes to the in-car action. I don't have any footage here of the cockpit cam, didn't get around to recording that one. I was hoping to set it all up with the triple screens, but here we're using the bumper cam. This is another good example. You know, I'm in a muscle car, sports car, and you can just see I'm the same height there as the man in the white van. So if you think of driving position, that's where I am. So you're kind of driving a white van height while being in a sports car, and that's why it just doesn't feel quite right for me. I always think bumper cams is a certain height. Now, on Codemasters games, I claim that I complain they're too low, and here they've got one that's a little bit too high. I wouldn't mind one just a tad lower down. But either way, it does what it's meant to, but I just think they're a little bit lower. You feel a bit more connected to the actual car that you're driving. We're racing around different city environments. So what have I been doing? Well, I went into the story mode first. I think that's what you've got to do, isn't it? Go into the story mode, start unlocking cars, finding out what that's all about. We didn't get to do so much story mode before. It was mainly online challenges, racing with other guys in the room and generating some experience, if you like, to test out some of the different cars, driving to the tuning place and finding the different hideouts where your base camp will be as we come to the end of that little race as well. And there's these nice little cutscenes. You see the car there. Nice cutscenes as well. I do like the FMV, the nice quality character models they have as they flesh out the storyline about your character. It's to an extent it's reasonably generic, I guess. It's very Fast and the Furious in that way, but visually it looks very nice in terms of how they've done it in the styling as well. It's quite a dark story to it overall. It's all quite a moody look to it. Clearly a David Fincher fan, and of course then your man gets taken, or you do, and then you have to race your way out of trouble. I'm not going to go too much into the storyline at this stage, so this is just early on in the game. I'm not giving anything away here, but I'm not going to give away anything either in terms of where we go with the story. Suffice to say, then you're out of there and you're back in your cars, and then you select which car you'd like to start with. So nice selection of shiny cars available. And again, all of these look very nice given the open world environment that we have. We can see the lighting there as well. It's nice to see these details, always improving. And that's the one thing, you know, you can't look at it as if it's just a racetrack. A racetrack in a game is like a tunnel. Here you can see you've got the whole of the US mapped out for you, obviously on a slightly more miniature scale, but there's so much there to see, do and explore. Lots of potential for it. Visually then, so very nice. I think there's certainly something dynamic missing in the kind of cars and the feel of the cars and the way they look, and I can't explain it. It's just a sort of clunkiness to it that I think in the way it moves that could do with a bit more refinement. So viewpoint and just general refinement in the way the car moves, it certainly lacks a bit of body language, for want of a better word. And of course then we're on to a bit of racing. I thought I'd finish with a little bit of race. You're delivering a car, an Aston Martin. It looks great as well. Look at that. I love Aston Martins. As we said, I'm a big fan. And of course now drive to the next environment. Again, this was with the wheel, this was being driven. And in another video as well, I'll have some off-road, stuff like that. Now I take this all very carefully. I'm not going flat out. I just wanted to get the car there without touching anything. I didn't know if that was the mission or not, but it seems that you could actually bash into lots of stuff and just go flat out. But I thought, no, I'm going to take it nice and easy. Again, you see all the buildings, the cityscape, the view that goes for miles. No pop-up or anything like that. Still nice to see. And it shows how far graphics have actually got to go. I mean, when you look at the first trailer for The Crew, which looked a lot better than the actual game, it just shows, you know, the next generation is going to be even better. So we work our way through the city. There's just a rear wheel caught up on the curb. And so of course this is me now getting in with a gang. I want to find out more about this gang. Again, not going into the story too much, but I've got to deliver this car to the next location, and we'll go from there. So the story, I've been playing through the story mode. I'm going to go through too much of that. I'm going to give more of my opinions in parts 2 and 3 of this preview. Part 3 is going to be a bit longer. It's going to be a bit of a Sunday drive as well. But that's it for this part 1 of The Crew beta action, and there'll be more from me very soon.